You can get more from your television. Just select Teletext, use the subtitles on page 888, and you won't be lost for words. On today's Missing File, we urgently need your help to find 13-year-old Serena Samuels, who was last seen on Saturday, November the 15th, when she left her children's home in Leicester and travelled down to London. It's known that she arrived at St Pancras station and had plans to meet up with an old friend, but nothing has been heard from her and no one has seen her. She used to live in Hackney and may have returned to the area. Her mother and her younger brothers and sisters are anxious for any news and are extremely concerned for her safety. Serena is 4 feet 10 and has dark brown hair with highlights. If you think you've seen her, call the National Missing Persons Helpline on free call 0500 700 700. That's 0500 700 700. Your call could help a young person at risk.
This is Carlton. Good evening. At 8 o'clock tonight, we've a news story starting in the Bill. Then later at 9 o'clock, we look at some of Britain's richest people. But now it's time for the news.
From the studios of ITN, the early evening news with John Souchet.
Good evening. The spokesman for the family of Linda McCartney admitted today that he had misled the media about the circumstances of her death to protect the family's privacy. It was said she had died in Santa Barbara, California. In fact, it's now known she died at the family's ranch in Arizona. The spokesman said the family was furious at suggestions that Linda's death was an assisted suicide. Our media and arts correspondent Katie Derham reports.
They've been mourning Linda McCartney in Santa Barbara, California. It was thought she died there on Friday. But then officials said they hadn't got the correct documents and had launched an informal investigation.
It's an ongoing coroner's investigation into the death of Linda McCartney. On Sunday, we heard that she passed away in Santa Barbara County. And as of today, we still haven't received documentation like a death certificate that would, in fact, confirm that she did die in Santa Barbara County. So we're still trying to investigate that matter to see if, in fact, she did die here.
The family have now admitted she actually died in Arizona. After TV and newspapers showed pictures of the family's ranch, they've asked for no further details of the location to be given. The McCartney spokesperson doesn't regret misleading the media.
It was done for an attempt to try to care for people for whom care is very much needed at the moment.
The revelations today have caused further speculation about Linda's sudden death. Because she was well enough to ride just 2 days before she died on Friday, some have suggested that her death could have been assisted.
That's an outrageous suggestion. That's completely untrue, absolute nonsense. And in fact, Linda's doctor, Larry Norton in New York, last night put out a statement saying that, she did die from natural causes.
As for Paul, close friends say he doesn't care what people are saying. He just wants Linda back. Katie Derham, ITN.
Next, on the early evening news, World Cup ticket chaos, the French face a huge fine. Belgium's paedophile escapes from police custody. And Dolly had a little lamb, but she's no clone of her mum. Britain today urged the World Cup organisers to allocate specific phone numbers for English and Scottish fans trying hopelessly to buy tickets through the French hotline. The suggestion is aimed at eliminating the chaos of the last 2 days. Howell Jones reports.
Before a ball's been kicked, France has already scored an expensive own goal over ticket sales. French fans have the home advantage on tickets. This hotline was opened in Paris yesterday, a belated attempt to give fans in other countries a chance. But even here, 1/3 of the phone lines are dedicated to callers from France. This man's patience has finally run out. Karl van Miert, the European Competition Commissioner, wants to fine the French organisers. The fine could be up to 10% of the World Cup's revenue, maybe £25 million.
Unfortunately, what it doesn't do is make the ticket situation for England fans or any fans anywhere in the world any easier.
That's the sound most disappointed fans are hearing, a busy tone. The ticket line will be open for another week, but even so, the odds against getting through and getting a ticket are extremely high. The French sports minister made no apologies when she met her British counterpart in London today, but Britain told her we want easier access to ticket hotlines.
We have asked the French authorities to consider allocating a specific telephone number to each specific game.
If the French are fined, it won't be until after the World Cup. By then, thousands of English and Scottish fans will have missed out. Howell Jones, ITN.
The man dubbed public enemy #1 for his suspected part in the deadly paedophile scandal that's rocked Belgium escaped from custody today. The convicted child rapist, Marc Dutroux, grabbed a policeman's gun, ran from a courthouse and hijacked a car. It's just been reported that he has been recaptured. Helen Wright reports.
Within minutes of the Dutroux escape, thousands of police officers across Belgium joined an embarrassing manhunt. Europe's most notorious suspects had slipped through their hands. Marc Dutroux, charged with killing 4 young girls in horrifying circumstances, had been under police guard at a court. As he was looking through his case papers, he grabbed the gun of a police officer and fled from the courthouse. He hijacked the car of a woman who was driving past the building and made off towards the border with Luxembourg. Belgian police sealed the border. French and German police were mobilised. They had the number plate of his car. They knew he was dressed in prison clothes, but for hours they couldn't find him. The news sent shocks through Belgium. There was disbelief from the parents of the young girls Dutroux is alleged to have killed. From the beginning, the police botched the inquiry into the girls' killing. The fact they have now let the key suspect slip free is a major embarrassment. Reports that Dutroux has been recaptured have now been officially denied. Helen Wright, ITN.
A Labour MP is to be prosecuted over expenses fraud. Fiona Jones, the MP for Newark, is accused of handing in an inaccurate expenses account after last May's election campaign. Tonight, she said she had done nothing wrong. Our political correspondent Tom Bradby reports from Westminster.
Today, outside her office in Newark, Fiona Jones insisted she'd done nothing wrong.
I'm disappointed with the actions of both the Nottinghamshire Police and the CPS, but we are confident that we will be vindicated because we are quite confident that our return did nothing more than, as I say, reflect the amount of money spent on the election.
And in the meantime, you'll carry on with your constituency duties?
Oh, well, provided the press allow me to do that, of course I will.
This is Miss Jones arriving at the House as the new MP for Newark. In her election return, she said she spent about £400 under the legal limit, but a political rival accused her of spending much more. Such prosecutions are rare, but many view this as a grey area. In the Wirral South by-election, for example, the last before the general election, there were claims all the parties had spent way over the limit. The question was what was expenditure by candidates, what by national party machines. Other Labour MPs have been immediately penalised once allegations have been made. Mohammed Sarwar had the whip withdrawn when he came under investigation for election fraud in Glasgow. But tonight the Labour Party confirmed it would not be taking any such action against Ms Jones, insisting the return had been filled out by her agent and that the party viewed it as purely a technical matter. Tom Bradby, ITN at Westminster.
Doctors are to be warned against prescribing antibiotics for minor illnesses. A government report has found that overuse of them has given rise to a new generation of drug-resistant bugs. Diseases that had been easily treatable with antibiotics could again become life-threatening. Lauren Taylor reports.
Public health experts examining a new super drug-resistant bug that could kill people with weak immune systems. This discovery coincides with a House of Lords report which warns that the overuse of antibiotics means they could become obsolete as bacteria become increasingly resistant.
We found this report an alarming experience to discover just how serious it was, not only in this country but elsewhere in the world too. We believe something must be done very soon, otherwise we may well be in a serious situation.
The report urges education for doctors on the risks of overprescribing, as one of the problems is that when bacteria are exposed to antibiotics, they mutate and become resistant. But they also want the public to be educated. A government review body is expected to draw the same conclusions.
The public shouldn't expect antibiotics for every little infection. They're not effective against viruses anyway. So we do have to be very careful not only about doctors but also about the public.
Today's report adds that some of the antibiotics used in animal feeds to promote growth should be phased out, as they pose a threat to human health. Lauren Taylor, ITN.